Hey guys, we are continuing chapter 5 today. I'm going to show you a couple quick things and we'll be done. This really will not take long probably. So chapter 5 is dealing with scientific notation, and in the first section we learn to take numbers that are in standard form and put them into scientific notation, and vice versa, take numbers that are in scientific notation and put them in standard form. Today we are going to learn how to do a couple of operations on numbers that are in scientific notation. We're going to learn how to multiply and divide them, and I'm going to try to show you a couple cool things on your calculator that might help you. So let me flip the camera around and we will get started. Let's see. I am struggling. Oh my goodness. I think I got it. My goodness. Okay. So, we are going to label this Notes, Section 5.2. And the first skill that we are going to talk about is multiplying numbers in scientific notation. All right? So, pretty easy to do. Remember, a number in scientific notation looks like this. A times 10 to the n. Right? So to multiply numbers that are in scientific notation, the easiest way to do it is multiply the a values, add the exponents. And that's really it. You know, I would compare this to something you know how to do, which is when you have like 2x to the, fourth power times 3x to the 7th power. You guys know how to multiply those together, right? You multiply the coefficients and get 6, and you add the exponents and get 6x to the 11th power. Well, scientific notation works very similar to that. It's really the same type thing. What if I had two numbers that are in scientific notation, say 2 times 10 to the 4th power, times, and maybe 3 times 10 to the 7th power. Well, it's very similar, which is what I was describing up here. You multiply the a values. The a values are just like the coefficients. You multiply those together, and you get 6 times 10, just like this is times x, and just like over here, you add the exponents. So it's 10 to the 11th power. And you're done. Multiply the a values together, get the 6, add the exponents, 10 to the 11th. Let me show you one tricky thing that sometimes happens, and that would be something like this. What if I had 6 times 10 to the 4th times 4 times 10 to the negative 7th? Okay, so here is the tricky thing. This time, when I multiply the a values together, I get 24, and when I add the exponents, the 4 and the negative 7 added together would be negative 3, And this would be my answer, except this is not in scientific notation. Why is it not in scientific notation? Well, if you said because this number, the a value, is not between 1 and 10, you'd be correct. So after you multiply, you have to make sure that that a value is between 1 and 10. So I would take the decimal point now, and I would move it one spot, and I would make this 2.4. All right, so I moved the decimal one spot. And to make up for that, I need to move the exponent one spot. And here's the way I think about this. If the number is getting smaller, right, it went from being 24 to 2.4, if the number is getting smaller, then to make up for that, the exponent needs to get bigger. Because we really want these two things to have the same value. We're just changing it so it's in scientific notation. But we want them to have the same value. So to make up for the number getting smaller, the exponent needs to get bigger. And -3, one spot bigger, remember that would be -2. And this would be my answer, 2.4 times 10 to the -2nd. I will do that again when I go to dividing. So, let's look at how to divide numbers in scientific notation. Now, you could actually just keep going here. I changed papers. I guess I didn't need to because I still have room down here, so I'll just do it. Divide numbers in scientific notation. All right, so this is very similar. This time we're going to divide the a values. I don't know why I did that. And when we're dividing, we subtract the exponents, just like if they were on variables. So, I'm going to do two examples here and show you the difference. If I have 7 times 10 to the 4th divided by 2 times 10 to the 9th. So the first step is divide the a values, right? 7 divided by 2, and I do that on my calculator, 7 divided by 2 maybe, and I get 3.5. But this time I subtract the exponents, and you always want to subtract top minus bottom. So it would be 4 minus 9, and 4 minus 9 is -5, and that's my answer. 3.5 times 10 to the -5th. Now if we wanted to put that in standard notation, we'd move the decimal to make this a very tiny number. Oops, sorry, got off the screen there a little bit. There you go. We'd make this a very tiny number by moving the decimal 5 spots. So we'd need 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 5. And that's my answer, both in scientific notation and standard. Let me do one more example that's a little more difficult. 3 times 10 to the 2nd divided by 5 times 10 to the -8th. This time I'm going to move to the right. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the a values. 3 divided by 5. That is 0.6. And I'm going to subtract the exponents, right? 2 minus -8. And 2 minus -8 is actually 2 plus 8, that's 10. So my answer is 0.6 times 10 to the 10th. However, that is not in scientific notation, again, because this number, the a value, is not between 1 and 10. So I need to make it be between 1 and 10 because we're going to want my final answer. When you do this on Delta Math, you're going to want your final answer to be in scientific notation. So I'm going to move the decimal 1 spot and make this a 6. Now this time, I moved the decimal 1 spot and made the number bigger. So to make up for making this number bigger, I'm going to make the exponent smaller by 1 spot. This number got bigger by 1 spot, this number gets smaller by 1 spot, and this is my answer in scientific notation. Right? That is the two things on the homework. Multiplying, it's the two new things, multiplying numbers in scientific notation and dividing numbers that are in scientific notation. Now I want to show you one or two cool things about your calculator and we'll be done. Did you know that your calculator actually has a scientific notation form? If you hit this button that says mode, and you use the little arrow keys here, down in the second row, right now we are in normal mode, but we could put it in science mode by going over there and hitting enter. And now I'm in science mode, so I'll clear that. And look, what is 3 times 5? Well, you guys all know what 3 times 5 is, right? 3 times 5 is 15. But in scientific notation, that would be 1.5 times 10 to the first power. And look, oops, 3 times 5, if I hit enter, is 1.5. The calculator gives you the answer in scientific notation when you're in science mode. So what you could actually do when you're using numbers in scientific notation is you could put your calculator in science mode. And I will do this problem again right here. Now, I want to warn you that when you're typing numbers in scientific notation, you're going to want to put them in parentheses. So this first number is 3 times 10 to the second power, would look like that, in parentheses. And I'm dividing that by, and I want to put the second number in parentheses, 5 times 10 to the negative 8th power. And now, oops, I've lost it there. Sorry about that. There we go. Now you can see it. And now, when I hit enter, I should get the answer over here, 6 times 10 to the 9th. And I do. Right? So that is, again, that is the mode button. And that is down here, putting your calculator in science mode. You know, another interesting thing your calculator does is that this floating thing, your calculator will round to whatever decimal you want it to round to. Float means put the decimal wherever it actually ends up. But if I wanted to round to like 1 decimal place, I could click on 1. Or 2 decimal places, I could click on 2. So, that's interesting. Anyway, good luck with the assignment. I will see you guys in the Zoom class tomorrow.